of the chairpersons of the African Union and the African Commission, esteemed comrades from liberation movements and governing political parties in our region and beyond, leaders of non-governmental organizations and fraternal organizations and trade unions, Your Excellency Ambassador Joseph Norris, Deputy Executive Secretary of SADC, distinguished guests, members of the media, ministers and deputy ministers. On behalf of the people and the government of the Republic of South Africa, I would like to welcome all of you to South Africa. We are honored indeed to be hosting this historic act of solidarity with the Sahrawi people. It is fitting that this conference is taking place in a building named after Oliver Reginald Tambo, a legendary statesman and a committed internationalist who was unwavering in his support for the struggle of the self-determination of the Sahrawi people. It was Oliver Reginald Tambo who affirmed, as we do today, that international solidarity is an imperative for progressive peoples everywhere. Building bridges of friendship is a natural and just course of action for all who share the vision of a world free from subjugation, a world where the strong do not exert their dominance through force of arms on others. In the many times he addressed the international community on the anti-apartheid struggle, Comrade O.R. Tambo spoke of the role of men and women of conscience in giving voice to the struggles of oppressed peoples everywhere. Gathered here today are men and women of conscience. You stood by South Africa during the struggle for our own liberation, and today you are here to affirm your solidarity with the Sahrawi people in their quest for self-determination. The presence of representatives from the national liberation movements of our region, from the African Union and the African Union Commission, from the SADC and our other friends in the international community sends the clearest message that we are with the people of Western Sahara. We stand by you, we support you, and we will never forget you. This conference reflects our commitment as the countries of Africa, supported by our friends in the international community, to call for a just, acceptable, and lasting solution to the situation in Western Sahara. It follows on a decision made at the 37th Summit of the SADC Heads of State and Government that took place here in Pretoria in 2017. It was the Palestinian poet Muhammad Darwish, who himself had known the pain of dispossession and exile, who once wrote, "A person can only be born in one place. However, he may die several times elsewhere, in the exiles and prisons, and in a homeland transformed by the occupation and oppression into a nightmare." Close quotes. We cannot but be moved by the plight of the Sahrawi people. It has been 43 years since Western Sahara was annexed, and for these 4 decades, the people of Western Sahara have had to ensure dispossession, endure dispossession, displacement, conflict, and the deprivation of their liberties. The Sahrawi people have lived in refugee camps in Algeria since the 1970s, making this one of the longest humanitarian crises the world has known. In these camps, men, women, children live in desperate conditions, relying on international aid to survive. The situation of the Sahrawi people is a blight on the human conscience, all the more so that it has endured for far too long. It has been 3 decades since the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 621 of 1998, first calling for a referendum on self-determination for the people of Western Sahara. But despite successive Security Council resolutions and decisions of the OAU and the African Union, this critical step has not taken place. The ultimate result has been that the people of Western Sahara have been deprived of the most fundamental right of a people, the right to determine their own destiny. We are here to hear from the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic and Polisario what we can do to aid them in advancing their cause. While we are here to express our unwavering solidarity with the just cause of our brothers and sisters, any actions going forward must be decided upon by the Sahrawi people and not any external entity. We are here to deliberate on the way in which we can use our respective positions with the United Nations and the African Union to advocate for urgent implementation without delay of all the UN Security Council and AU decisions on Western Sahara, including that of holding a referendum. It is only through the implementation of these decisions that a solution to the Western Sahara question can be achieved. This must be done in the spirit of multilateralism, based on the Charter of the United Nations and the applicable provisions of the African Union. We continue to urge all parties involved to negotiate in good faith and without preconditions to ensure that an enduring solution is found. We once again affirm our support for the work being done by the AU and the UN, particularly the initiatives taken by the UN Secretary General. We are immensely encouraged by the efforts of the personal envoy of the UN Secretary General for Western Sahara, former German President Horst Kohler, who is facilitating a political dialogue between the Kingdom of Morocco and Polisario. This is a development to be welcomed and encouraged. As countries of the SADC region who have waged struggles in pursuit of our own liberation, we know too well the pain of being deprived of the right to be treated as full citizens in the land of one's birth. The pain of the Sahrawi people, their trauma brought about by the displacement and exile is ours too. So long as the aspirations of the people of Western Sahara are not met, we will fall short of realizing the vision of the AU's Agenda 2063 of a continent at peace with itself. As a collective, let us reaffirm our support for the UN process that seeks to bring these two African nations, Morocco and the SADC, back to the negotiating table. As lovers of peace and freedom, as men and women of conscience, let us step up our international solidarity efforts in both word and deed with the people of Western Sahara, with Polisario, and with the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. It was international solidarity that brought down the barbaric system of apartheid, and it is international solidarity that will see realized the foremost aspiration of the people of Western Sahara to be independent and free. I am told that the deliberations held on the first day of this conference have been most fruitful and that consensus has been reached on a number of key issues. Let us continue to harness this spirit of cooperation, of solidarity, and of a multilateral pursuit of a continent in which all its people are free. I once again welcome you all and wish you well on this final day of this conference. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Before I call upon the chairperson to give the remarks, I just wanted to highlight that former President